So it is February 8th and I leave to Iceland within the week. And just this morning, Iceland Air put this message out. This morning, a volcanic activity resumed in a localized area in the southwest region of Iceland. The activity is not affecting our operations or Keflavik Airport, and our flight schedule remains unchanged. It further goes on to say, we're monitoring the situation closely and will inform our passengers of any new developments. Iceland is a volcanic island and eruptions are a part of our DNA. The country's incredible nature has given us excellent training and expertise to deal with these unique situations. It's crazy that I had kind of planned a lot of this in advance, and this all just seems to be happening as I'm headed out over there. Don't get me wrong, there's a part of me that would be excited to see some of this, but also I want to put a lot of respect to the locals. I know that they're trying to take care of the situation as best as they can for themselves, and the last thing they need is ignorant tourists getting in the way. But I also don't want to get stuck anywhere and create any implications for further along my trips. So it's the morning of me taking off to Iceland, and I realized in the middle of the night that a lot of the hostels are getting booked up quite fast, because I think what has happened is with the eruption happening, especially so close to the Blue Lagoon, there's probably a lot of patrons that were going to stay at the Blue Lagoon and now need last minute accommodations because it is closed. This means that a lot of places are getting filled up pretty quickly, and my options of places to stay in Iceland were dwindling. So I bit the bullet and I just ended up buying accommodations for every night while I'm out there, and I'm just gonna have to figure it out. If I find people along the way that maybe would like to split on the cost of a rental vehicle to do a day trip, or maybe a night that I miss out on the hostel and burn for the money, so be it. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't over there and had nowhere to sleep at any point in my trip. So I've actually got all my bags packed right here. It looks like I'm taking a lot, but honestly, all of these weigh less than like 25 pounds. It's more just the amount of space certain things take up, like proper boots for hiking in Iceland. It will hopefully dwindle and I'll be able to leave some luggage at some point during the trip. But that being said, it's about time to go. And honestly, it feels a bit freaky. Alright, so this is my last moment before I jump on the plane, and yeah, I'll see you in 4 months or so, Dad. So I'm now here at the terminal and have finally made it through. Honestly, I was a bit nervous about my baggage because I had the weights all correct, and I have carry-on, checked luggage, and a personal item, but I didn't see anywhere on my ticket that said I was allowed a personal item, which is usually a bit odd. They did say that my personal item was a bit large. I mean, I know that it's within spec, and it's got a coat attached to the bottom right now, which makes it look bigger, but they allowed me to put all of my stuff that absolutely had to be carry-on in this small bag. So I've got 2 items, and they put my carry-on on the plane for free. So that's pretty nice, and we'll see what comes of the trip. Honestly, it still feels a little surreal, even though I'm sitting right beside our plane. And we're boarding. So this flight went really smooth, but I really needed to sleep on it because we left at 7 p.m. and we're gonna be arriving in Reykjavik at like 6 in the morning. But it was really hard to get any sleep because partway into the trip, I got a glimpse of the northern lights, and at first it was the faintest thing, and then suddenly the sky lit up like fire. It was an amazing experience, and I started letting the fellow passengers know what was happening, and before you know it, everyone was up out of their seats and we were trying to give everyone turns. It was easily one of the most magical flights I've ever been on, and I don't know if I'll be forgetting it anytime soon. So I am out of the airport officially now, and I am on my way to the fly bus, and this will take me down to Reykjavik. All I can think right now is get to the hostel and see what's next. Well guys, I am here. I am in Reykjavik, and I was not expecting there to be mountains right here, which is pretty cool. But I'm staying at a nearby hostel, and honestly, it's been a bit of a whirlwind getting out of the airport and to where I'm staying. At the current moment, I have to wait until later in the day before I can actually check in. So thankfully they're holding my luggage for the time being, and I'm just out to explore the city. So I caught some photos of these mountains just as the sun was coming up over them, but I'm looking forward to catching more, seeing more of the city. I have to say, when my plans changed and I wasn't going to be doing as much backcountry Iceland as I originally was hoping to, I was a bit nervous about what to expect. And now that I know that I'm going to be pretty well based in Reykjavik my entire stay, just walking around the streets, I'm already falling in love with a lot of, like, what is this? This is beautiful. To me, bright colored homes are always very indicative of coastal towns or villages, cities even, because from the east coast of Canada, it was always a really big thing there. I know that coastal towns usually have bright colored houses because sailors would be out at sea, and then when they would come into shore, they could see their brightly colored house and get excited about the return home that much more as they came in. And you do see a fair bit of the color here in Reykjavik. So I'm on my way to the museum because I'm really interested in how Iceland got started, Viking history, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to learn a bit about that at the museum, and as I was walking through the park here, I noticed this beautiful church with the mountain in the background there. But like, just this whole park, like, you get to see the church up there. There's this beautiful, like, kind of mustard house. There's these red houses out there. It really is such a beautiful city, and it sits in this weird in-between state between like quaint, coastal, colorful, but also slightly brutalist. Like, I know that the church was designed largely based on the salt pillar beaches out by like the black sand beach, but at the same time, being so concrete and sharp, jagged, it gives this really brutalist impression. And you see that in a number of places as well. I'll try and highlight some of that as I go, but it's this beautiful contrast between cozy and harsh. And I think that's to be said for the land of fire and ice. You know, you need a little warmth, and there's some accepting the cold, hard truth about what this country is. I just finished up at the National Museum of Iceland, and honestly, it was a really awesome experience. It really went into the history of Iceland, how it was settled and colonized, and yeah, the history of the peoples there, which is something I'm pretty interested in. Anyhow, I am absolutely zonked. I am gonna try and grab a coffee on the way back to the hostel. I think I saw a good place out here. Other than that, I'm headed to the hostel no matter what. I am likely just gonna chill in the lobby and maybe even pass out for a bit because it is hard to keep my eyes open right now. So I got my coffee and I got a treat. It came to about $13. I will say, for $13, the coffee is pretty small, and it tastes good, but I don't know, maybe I just don't know how to use the reusable cup, but it's dripping all over my hand, and I noticed the person in front of me also having the same issue. Is this location particularly worth it? I don't know. We'll see if the pastry saves it. So this is a pecan caramel bun. It's basically like a cinnamon bun, but with pecan and caramel. This is good. It kind of cancels out the coffee being a bit small. Well, I got back to the hostel successfully. I'm gonna try and have a quick nap before getting things together for the upcoming days. So my nap was successful, although I accidentally slept until 7:30 p.m. instead of the 6 p.m. I was looking for. What it means is I don't have a mic on for you guys right now, but it also means that I've only got a half hour to make it to the grocery store if I'm going to get groceries, not only to have dinner tonight, but be able to bring food for my excursion tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going hiking on a glacier. So I ripped through Bonus pretty quickly, and I secured 2 sandwiches and 2 apples, so that will at least take care of me for tomorrow and tonight if it really had to. Well, it has definitely been a day getting out here to Iceland and having my first experiences with Reykjavik. Thank you so much for following along, and I cannot wait to show you what this glacier tour is going to be all about. But until next time,